Hi everyone. Today we're going to be having a look at what a passage analysis is through looking at Runner by Robert Newton. You might be a little bit confused right now. It might be the first time that you have ever read a passage analysis, let alone written one. But don't worry, today we're going to have a look at what a passage analysis is and how to write one. A passage analysis is an extended piece of writing which explains the significance or importance of a specific section within a novel or narrative. It usually explores the author's writing style, the characters, literary devices, themes, and more. In your passage analysis, you're going to be asked to answer 3 key questions. The questions that you answer in passage analysis can change depending on the book, depending on the teacher, and depending on what we want you to get out of the passage analysis. But today we're going to stick to these 3. Question 1. Where in the novel does the passage take place? Question 2. Why is this passage important to the plot, themes, protagonists, or main characters? What literary devices has the author used in this passage, and how has it made the audience feel or react? These are the questions we want you to think about as you read through your passage. At the end of this video, you will be given your own passage and you will be expected to answer these questions on your own. But together, we're going to read through page 1 of Runner, which is the passage that I've selected for this example. That day, I recall, was the start of the rain. Overnight, the huge, menacing clouds thundered into town and set up camp above the city. In the morning, while my baby brother slept, Ma and I stood on the front porch gazing up at the dirty, black sky. Next door, too, our old neighbour, Cecil Redmond, had his eyes raised skyward. "Have you ever seen anything so black, Mr. Redmond?" Ma called. "Indeed I have, missus," he replied, "just now when the good wife smiled at me." In the seedy streets of Richmond, you would not find 2 finer neighbours than the Redmonds, and, if truth be known, they were more like grandparents to my brother and I. Still, Mr. Redmond was right. His wife's rotting teeth were sadly in need of attention. So if during any point during the video you would like to have a look at this passage again, please pause the video and have another look at it, okay? We won't be having a look at the passage, but we will be answering the questions from here on. Question 1. Where in the novel does this passage take place? Page 1. Now, this seems like the logical and correct answer, but it's not actually the correct answer. What you need to do is to put some thought or thinking into your answer. Explain where the passage is in relation to an important event or decision. For example, this passage occurs in the opening paragraphs of the novel Runner by Robert Newton. This opening chapter sets the scene for the narrative as historic Richmond in 1919. We learn that poverty is common in these slums. Question 1 is the easier of the 3 questions to answer. So let's move on to question 2. Question 2. Why is this passage important to the plot, themes, or main character protagonist? Now, I've chosen to answer my question focusing on the themes because I feel like that passage works in really well with the different themes in Runner. But your passage might work in better with the plot or the protagonist. You will need to make that decision, or you could even answer all 3. Let's have a look at my answer. Within Runner, Newton explores the themes of family and friendship. The Redmonds are key to these themes as they are not only neighbours and friends, but are more like grandparents to the boys. The narrator, Charlie Fian, struggles to come to terms with what his family is after the recent death of his father. We learn that later in the novel, Mr. Redmond becomes more like a father figure to Charlie as he helps Charlie become the man of the house and to fill the long pants of adulthood. This passage introduces us to the characters of Mr. and Mrs. Redmond. Notice that I've referenced information from outside this passage, which relates to the same theme or idea. I've even used quotations from outside and inside the passage. It's highly recommended that you also do this. Question 3. What literary devices has the author used in this passage, and how has it made the audience feel or react? Let's have a look at my answer. Newton uses some foreshadowing within this opening paragraph, referring to huge menacing clouds, which is implying that a physical storm is approaching. However, in the novel, Charlie is also about to confront a metaphorical storm. The choices and decisions he makes will have a great impact not only on himself, but his family and friends. Newton uses a somewhat stereotypical metaphor of a storm approaching to alert the audience to a possible problem coming up in the novel. Readers are cautious as they continue to read, concerned over the poverty of the Fians and Charlie's poor decision-making skills. Now, the question asks us what literary device is, and so far I've only really mentioned one, the metaphor of the storm. So let's have a look at some others. Other literary devices within this passage are some alliteration. For example, seedy streets and baby brother. Humour is also included within Newton's writing style, as Mr. Redmond compares the blackness of the storm to the rotting of his wife's teeth. Throughout this novel, Newton utilises a range of literary devices to engage and interest the readers. So there, we've answered all three of our passage analysis questions. But what we need to have a talk about is what this will look like. So let's have a look. I've snipped this from my Word document. See how that there are no questions written out as subtitles. It looks much more like an essay response. This is how yours will need to look as well. Okay, good luck. It's time for you to return to the H book and complete your own passage analysis.